Hi, in this video we are going to continue the HTML and CSS coding for the website prototype, and we are going to work on the top navigation menu. This is a list of suggestions how you should use this video. This is the last video for this series of videos. At the end of this video we are going to talk about what other improvements you can make. But remember, this is just a simple prototype. This is not the final website, okay? The notes for this website can be found at this URL, which is loaded, which is loaded here, okay? At the end of the video, you should be able to create a top navigation, which is shown here. As I said, this is the last video. There are other things you can do for this website prototype, for example, mouse over effects for the links here, and some other special effects for the links below. But we are not doing it. We're not doing it here. We are just going to finish the top navigation, and then we are going to stop. Of course, there are other things you can do, such as convert everything to PHP, use include statement for the top navigation and for the middle navigation, and many other things you can do, link up to a backend database, but that is out of the scope of this web design video. In this video, we're just going to show you how to, in this series of videos, the objective is just to show you how to create a PSD file, a Photoshop prototype, and then we are going to slice it, export it, do some simple coding to convert it to HTML, which you can see all the code here, and then do a simple navigation. Okay, it's a fixed width design, very simple to do. We can always do other things to make it more fancy, but due to the time constraint, we are not going to do that here. Okay, so the last video is about navigation. Before that, I want to create a subfolder so that we don't mess up stuff. Okay, so we are going to wait a minute. We are going to first create a subfolder here, and then we copy our previous code from from where we stopped in the last video, so that we don't accidentally mess up stuff and destroy our old stuff. So we're going to create a new folder called Church 33 Navigation, and then we're going to copy our files from Church 32 to here, and then we can start working on things. Okay, and when we do the top navigation, this navigation is actually from our previous meeting with the client, so the client must agree with this. There's no point coding when your client just disagree with you. Okay, and remember, this was where we stopped. We had a fake top navigation image which doesn't do anything, so we need to fix that. All right, and this was where we agree with our client. We can find that in Church 11 site structure. So we talk to our client, we agree that we have all this stuff. Of course, you can make changes later, but this is what we agree with. All right. Let's go back to the folder we've just created. We're going to open only the index.html and style.css. Let's look at index.html. We created an ID called div navigation, and we know that we want to put a navigation there. And this is the image that we see here. That is a fake image. Okay, so we need to get rid of that. And the navigation should come here. Okay, so we look at the wrong code. So let's make sure we go to the correct folder again. So we look at the 33 navigation. Okay, so we deleted that. That is gone. So we need to replace this with a navigation menu. Okay, to do a navigation menu, we need some coding. And due to the time constraint of the video, I'm not going to type all the code. I'm just going to show you some examples and then transfer the results there. I have two examples on our website. One example is here. Okay, it is an example from my HTML page. If I show you my HTML page, you can follow this link and scroll down here. I have some navigation examples. One is this one, the one I show you. One is this one, a 2-tier navigation, and one is this one, a 3-tier navigation. Very few people do 3-tier navigation, so I would suggest that we just stay with 2-tier navigations, okay? And I create shortcuts of these examples, and I put the shortcuts here. So if you go to the web design page, you scroll down, you should be able to look at all three examples here. The first one, the second one, and the third one. Okay, the examples are slightly different. For example, the first one, the drop down, if you view source, right click view source, you realize that I use UL at the top level. Okay, and then I use the coding to format that, the CSS coding to format that. If you look at my second and third example, I used UL at the top level, but that's only one level of UL. In fact, I use LI at my top level. You see, LI for the top level navigation. They're slightly different, but the concept is the same. That means you format wherever level that you build. Okay, and the example I use for our website prototype here, I actually follow the example 27A, which is using UL for the top level. UL, UL is kind of strange, but it works. Okay, and I like it, so I'm just going to continue using that one. There's no right or wrong, just whether it works or not and whether you will pass the validation. Okay, so let's first create the UL and LI navigation here. And I'm going to just copy and paste and explain. Okay, I'm going to paste it here. UL first level. UL. Okay, and the div tag. Let me explain. As you can see, I changed all the links to PHP because in the future I want to use include statement, PHP include statement for navigation, so that when I change something, I don't have to change all the pages and all that. But that is for the future. But I start changing the file names to PHP because I know I'm going to code in PHP. As you can see, this UI and LI is equivalent to the site structure we talked about. Okay, let me show you here. The top level okay, this is your home. So it's one UL for the home. For the sub layers here, we actually, below this, we created the another UL below the LI tag, because the LI tag ends here. That is your home. And then for the visitor, it's just UL and LI. And for the worship, there's a sub-level. So here we have to create a sub-level, another UL, and close by the LI tag. Okay. Same goes for your education. A sub-level of UL within the LI. And of course, the top level is UL. And then you have your preschool and contact us at one level. So they are here. Save your work. Of course, if you look at the result now, it's not very good because they will just collapse. Because I haven't done the CSS yet. They just go behind and all that. That's not good. So let's look at the CSS here. I'm just going to put the CSS code at the bottom of the style.css file. I'm going to quickly explain. Okay, so this is your navigation, and it starts with the ID, calculate the width, and then we define the different parameters for each level. UL, the first level, second level ULLI. What do we do with ULLIA and things like that? Okay, and if we save this, we created this navigation. Okay, all right, and we change everything to PHP. The next thing that we need to do, but we won't do it here, that is to change all the file names here to PHP and make all this with mouse over effects. We can do that with CSS, but I just don't want to do it here because that goes too much into implementation and all that. So we are not going to do it here. And then of course the bottom here, we should change all this into PHP, and then we could put the bottom navigation into a PHP file and all that as well. But that is another story here. It's not part of the scope. So we more or less finished the prototype, and the next step probably is to validate the HTML file. So I think I have validation here. Do I? No, I do not have HTML validation, so I'm afraid I have to go to my HTML and CSS page at the top of the page and do a HTML validation. So we need to validate this file. Hopefully we don't have any error. Web design, navigation. So probably we'll have a warning or something. Yes, they have one warning. They say, hey, put some heading inside. That's not good. But I have no error here. There's a warning. In theory, we should put a heading tag in our content here, right, and put in the actual content, but I will leave it to later during implementation because these are just dummy tags, right? If we put a H2 tag here, that will solve the problem, but this is just for the client to see, and the client probably is going to be happy with it. So we're going to fix this warning later, but not here, okay? And then we also need to validate the CSS, so we go to the CSS validator link here, and look for our CSS file, style.css. We should be able to pass with no error. Okay, so we are good to go. All right, so that's the end of our series of videos, but to creating a simple HTML and CSS website from a design prototype in Photoshop. Okay. Again, there's always room for improvements. We did some really simple fixed width design with no framework or whatsoever, but there's always things we can do. This is fixed width. This is not really responsive, but we are just using the video to teach a design concept. That is how to convert from a Photoshop prototype to a HTML and CSS file. We can always do other things such as mouse over effect, slideshow, bottom navigation, include index file, include PHP file. Those are all the good things we can do, but that is just out of the scope of this prototype creation video. Okay, I think it's a good place to stop for this series of videos. Thanks for watching.